So, for me, the speaker that we listened to spoke really fast, and that kind of made it hard for me to listen and to understand. But I think she mostly talked about the lack of international framework or international laws for space. So she talked about lunar property and lunar resources, and she talked about space exploration, and she talked about property rights on the moon, and she talked about how they were incentive for settlement and that they could potentially reduce the risk of humans becoming extinct. And she talked about access to space and a little bit of the economy and long-term thinking and planning ahead. And she also talked about how the U.S. needs to be at the forefront of space exploration and space law to smooth out potential territorial disputes before it leads to greater conflict, both here on Earth and potentially in space. One of the barriers for listening for me was the rate of speech. She spoke so fast that I could not understand her, especially at the beginning. Probably the first 4 minutes of her speech, I just kind of mentally shut down. And that's a common problem for me, is that if someone starts talking too fast, I just kind of mentally go away. So what she did to alleviate that problem was she enunciated, and then by the end of her speech, she slowed down a little bit, and that made it a little bit easier for me. For me, I turned up the volume, and I pretended that she was speaking in Spanish, because whenever I listen to Spanish, I have to listen more intensely to identify individual words, and I just kind of create context around those words to try to figure out what has been said. And so I did that with this, and it helped a lot. Yep.